is on the 2.06 million barrels per day projection. Is it achievable? I think that's
Yes.
very achievable because we have done it before, and in fact our national planning considerations were by this time we should be higher than 3 million. And if you recall, NMPC have reported significant findings even outside the traditional areas of production, Kolmani and Nasarawa State, among others. Mr. President's view is that in the last 1.5 years, we have made significant gain in security because of the investment in defense and security, which is our second priority area. Mr. President has been very mindful of the need to provide security to support domestic production, both in oil and in other sectors. And he believed that enough time has been given, and the gains in security supports that both domestic production, as we are seeing in agriculture, in solid mineral sector, and as well as petroleum sector, should be on the increase. And these estimates came from the ministry, from the regulatory agency, supported by the ministry and the companies, particularly NMPC. This is what they said their technical capacity, meaning what they can produce, is even higher than this, subject to infrastructure, evacuation infrastructure, particularly pipelines. So this is not too ambitious, but Mr. President accepted it, and he's going to hold people by account on these numbers. Secondly, there was a question on the capital component of the budget. The capital component of the budget is at least 33% of the budget. And when you take debt service, it's even much higher. With the performance, sorry, yes. Then there is performance. There is a question on the budget cycle. The budget cycle itself is a process, because before a budget is presented, medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy is presented to the National Assembly. And that sets all the assumptions and, so to say, bound upon which the budget itself will be drawn. And you may recall that we presented the medium-term expenditure framework, and based on that, the National Assembly had approved. So that is the first major element that determines achievement of the budget cycle, in fact a major one, because everyone knows the budget size and the assumptions. Secondly, when Mr. President was presenting the 2024 budget, which is a renewed hope budget, he did two things. He called on the National Assembly to ensure that they do their oversight function and interrogate everything that is done by the executive. And they have been doing that. So that has narrowed differences between the executive and the legislature. Equally, Mr. President directed in the budget speech of 2024 that all MDAs, in particular ministers, should respect the National Assembly, should ensure that they engage in order to generate confidence and provide transparency to the implementation of the budget. Again, that, I believe, has helped in improving confidence between the executive and the legislature, to the extent that Mr. President is determined to present the budget within the next 48 hours. It may be tough, but given all those confidence-building measures, we can't prejudge the National Assembly. But we believe that the National Assembly will expeditiously consider, given the track record, given the confidence, given their sense of appreciation of the relationship with the executive, particularly with Mr. President. However, I need to say here that our Constitution have always anticipated that even if a budget is not passed by the 31st of December, the executive can continue to incur expenditure, operate and spend money up. Sorry. So there's no going, and it's a constitutional, and it's one of the ingenuity of Nigeria's constitution. So yes, why we hope the budget will be done, signed, but no spending will be impaired or will not be able to be incurred, because the constitution anticipates that it could be the case that budget may not be passed before the end of the year. The performance of the 2024 budget. The 2024 budget has a revenue estimate of 25.8 trillion. As of 30th September 2024, revenue inflows amounting to 14.55 trillion, which is 75% of the prorated. I'm sure it's higher now, because given that this is as of 30th September, driven by robust performance in non-oil revenue stream and the courageous deregulation of the petroleum sector. So the nation is no longer bleeding, and the benefits are being seen. Equally, on the expenditure side, the 2024 budget forecasted an expenditure of 21 trillion, and the 21 trillion with 8.9 allotted to debt service, 4.2 trillion on personnel, 5.86 trillion was released for capital expenditure, of which MDS utilized 51% for projects. Budget performance on debt service is 100%. We are not defaulting. Part of what Mr. President did, led by the coordinating minister of the economy, is to ensure that and to convince the investing public and the creditors that we'll never default on our obligations, including the very challenging non-recourse to ways and means beyond the legal limits. Equally, the performance on personnel and pension is about 100%, and the capital performance is about 51%. Thank you very much.